Here are the crypto top headlines covered in this video. Spot Bitcoin ETFs buy up $654 million of BTC in 3 days. Also, Ethereum ETFs close to the finish line, says Bitwise. Plus, Uniswap cites Chevron in another urge for SEC to drop bid to rule over DeFi. Welcome to Crypto Top Headlines, where there's no clickbait thumbnails or titles, and no speeches on my opinions, just bringing crypto's news to you. We have a quick request that doesn't cost you anything in order to help. Help us grow this channel to 1,000 subscribers by September, which would be our channel's 1-year anniversary. All we ask is that you click on the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the notification bell. By clicking on these, it does help grow the channel, so thank you in advance for doing so. Now, on to these headlines. Our first top headline, Spot Bitcoin ETFs buy up $654 million of BTC in 3 days. Investors have piled into Bitcoin ETFs since July 5th, but it wasn't enough to offset Germany's BTC selling spree. Bitcoin investors have sent over $650 million into United States-listed spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds over the last 3 trading days since July 5th. It comes after another strong day of net inflows for the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs on July 9th. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, the iShares Bitcoin Trust, pulled in $121 million in inflows, followed by Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, which raked in $91 million. Total net inflows across all U.S.-based spot Bitcoin ETFs for July 9th came to $216.4 million, or 3,760 Bitcoin, according to data from Farside Investors. The burst of inflows, which includes $294.8 million on July 8th and $143.1 million on July 5th, totals $654 million over the past 3 trading days. Bitcoin has failed to climb back over $60,000 since July 4th. At the time of writing, the cryptocurrency is trading for $59,165, according to TradingView, down almost 15% over the past month. Some analysts hope the ETFs will help drive up the price of Bitcoin, as they did in the months before March when Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. The run-up from $16,000 to $73,000 was largely driven by the ETFs, following a buy the rumor, buy the news phenomenon, wrote Sina G., the co-founder and chief operating officer of Bitcoin custody consultancy firm 21st Capital, in an analysis thread on X. Up to mid-March, ETF flows were very strong and the market moved up. Since then, ETFs slowed down and bankruptcy outflows took over, causing a weak price action all the way down to $56,000, he wrote. Not enough to offset Germany's BTC dump. Inflows to U.S. Bitcoin ETFs haven't been enough to outpace a recent Bitcoin selling spree from Germany's BKA, the country's federal criminal police, which seized nearly 50,000 Bitcoin in mid-January amid a probe into a movie pirating website. Since July 5th, the BKA's wallet has reduced its BTC holdings by more than $850 million, with hundreds of millions in Bitcoin sent back and forth to wallets owned by centralized exchanges and market makers, according to Arkham Intelligence. Its wallet now holds 23,960 Bitcoin, worth $1.4 billion, less than half of the total Bitcoin initially seized from the film piracy site Movie 2K in mid-January. On-chain data from Arkham shows that the BKA began selling Bitcoin on June 19th and ramped up its efforts at the beginning of July. Let me pause here for a moment. If you're getting value out of this video, please click on the like and subscribe buttons as well as the notification bell. Our next top headline, Ethereum ETFs close to the finish line, says Bitwise exec. Bitwise's Chief Compliance Officer, Catherine Dowling, says fewer and fewer issues in the S1 filings are being pushed back and forth between the SEC and prospective ETF issuers. A roster of 8 United States-based spot Ether exchange-traded funds are inching closer to going live, but crypto asset manager Bitwise's Chief Compliance Officer Catherine Dowling says an exact launch date remains unknown. We're seeing in the S1 amendments that there are fewer and fewer issues that are being vetted back and forth between issuers and the SEC, Dowling told Bloomberg on July 9th. So that points all signs in the direction that we are close. We're close to the finish line on the launch. Form S1s provide information about the issuer and the securities they intend to offer. Once approved, the products can launch. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler recently predicted that the spot Ether ETFs will launch sometime in the summer. Everyone has a different definition of summer. It's been a little bit of a long, hot summer for the issuers waiting, Dowling said. Several spot Ether ETF issuers have been waiting for 6 weeks to have their S1 registration statements signed off by the SEC after the regulator approved several 19B-4 filings on May 23rd. The issuers submitted their amended S1s in early July after the securities regulator provided a first round of feedback. Bitwise's Chief Investment Officer, Matt Hogan, speculated that the spot Ether ETFs could attract up to $15 billion in inflows in the first 18 months of trading, roughly the same amount that the spot Bitcoin ETFs have mustered since launching 6 months ago. SEC is open to funds beyond BTC and ETH. Dowling revealed that the SEC has also been open to discussions concerning non-Bitcoin and Ether products as well. We've actually dialogued with the SEC about the possibility of what's coming down the pipe with new products, Dowling said. I think our communication with the SEC about the prospects for these products has actually been quite welcoming. The Chicago Board Options Exchange, or CBOE, filed applications to list spot Solana ETFs on behalf of Van Eck and 21 shares on July 8th. However, Dowling isn't confident that a third spot cryptocurrency ETF will be approved under Gensler's leadership. Senior Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchanis made a similar observation on July 9th, saying that a spot Solana ETF application would likely be dead on arrival if Biden were to be re-elected and Gensler kept on as the head of the financial regulator. Our next top headline, Uniswap cites Chevron and another urge for SEC to drop bid to rule over DeFi. Uniswap Labs argues the SEC's proposed legal amendments to give it power over DeFi are being made against a legal backdrop that no longer exists. Uniswap Labs, the developer behind the Uniswap decentralized exchange, has again pressed the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to drop its proposal to rule over decentralized finance, or DeFi, citing a recent landmark Supreme Court decision. Since at least April 2023, the SEC has proposed expanding the definition of what qualifies as an exchange in the Exchange Act of 1934, explicitly arguing that it should include crypto market participants in DeFi. Uniswap has been among those arguing against it. In a July 9th letter, Uniswap added further arguments following a comment letter it sent last month, calling for the SEC to drop its proposed amendments. Its new argument is that with the Chevron decision made during the Looper Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo Supreme Court case on June 28th, courts are no longer required to defer to federal agencies to interpret ambiguous laws. Uniswap said this means the SEC will be merely wasting limited resources trying to get the definition of exchange amended, which had already been likely to draw and unlikely to survive a judicial challenge even before the Chevron decision. If the Commission moves forward with its proposed amendments, a reviewing court is certain to conclude that the Commission's interpretation of the Exchange Act stretches the statutory text too far. The protocol also argues that the proposed amendment's breadth has no discernible limits to the public, meaning the SEC would need to continue litigating on a case-by-case basis in court, leading to inconsistencies and lack of clear guidance. For all of these reasons, the Commission should not adopt the proposed amendments, said Uniswap. The Commission drafted the proposed amendments against a legal backdrop that no longer exists. It said that if it doesn't adopt the amendments, it should at the very least reopen the comment period for its proposal so that the public can consider the recent Chevron decision. In April, the SEC issued a Wells notice to the decentralized exchange, a formal notification to a company or individual that SEC staff intend to recommend enforcement action against them. In a blog post a month later, Uniswap claimed the SEC had made weak legal arguments in issuing a Wells notice to the exchange and vowed it was ready to fight the matter in court if necessary. So this concludes Crypto Top Headlines. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to click on the like and subscribe buttons as well as the notification bell. Also, leave your thoughts in the comments and share this video with your friends and family. Thank you all for watching Crypto Top Headlines, bringing crypto's news to you.